It is time. One major obstacle stands between us and the 2 levels of Warp Room 4 that are surprisingly breathers. It's Cold Hard Crash, probably the worst level in the game. So we have another snow level. When I first played this game, I never expected there to be another snow level, let alone this late into the game. Of course, there's a reason this snow level is this late into the game. You'll see, trust me. Oh boy, is there a reason. So, this is by far probably the most infamous box gem in the game. I remember back in the day, there were those gaming magazines, and I saw one of them that had asked in its Q&A segment, somebody wrote in asking, how do you get the box gem in Cold Hard Crash? It's that bad. There are some hints to what you have to do, but they are a little obtuse and easy to miss. So, like most snow levels, we go from a 3D segment into a 2D segment, and we have the usual enemies, crushers, icicles, seals, nothing really too dangerous so far. But that will change. Oh boy, will that change. The bonus is the first sign of this level's true sadism. You'll see, or rather, you won't see. So, see those boxes there? We can't see much if we high jump, but if we slide jump on top of them... Did you hear that? There was a box up there, above that formation of 2 bouncy ones. They basically took the beta version of the Eel Deals trap and made it real. And at any other level that wouldn't be so bad, but in a level that's this insane to get the box gem on, getting to the very end only to realize you have 154 out of 155 boxes, and yes, I have memorized this level's exact box count, it's that infamous. But yeah, missing 1 box is downright soul-crushing. This level is definitely on my top 10 of most sadistic platform game levels of all time. And you're about to see why. Just a little bit here. And now we have this. So of course there's a danger path in this level, and on its own the danger path is actually fairly difficult. It's almost entirely on ice, and there's lots of nitros and lots of crushers. But that's not the real thing that makes this so difficult. You might notice the outline box there. That's your first hint at what's really going on here. So for this segment, I like to do a short hop here. Okay, that's actually bad. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't do a short hop. You sometimes careen right into the crusher and have to very quickly correct yourself. But there's an Ooga Booga randomly sitting in that plain box there. It's pretty weird. It's the only time in the game that happens. I get the feeling that was actually added late into development, when they realized this level was too hard. Which would make sense. Anyway, we have some nitros here that are pretty tricky to dodge around, especially these ones. Yeah, dodging all of them and then getting hit by those icicles at the end is actually fairly normal. Need to get past this crusher, and now we have an exclamation mark box, so we hit this, and hey, there's the gem, let's go down there. It's the end of the danger path, let's keep going to the level and get the box gem, right? Not really. You see, the danger path spits you out quite far into the main level, and we've missed a good deal of it, and a good deal of boxes. You can't get the box gem that way. This is how you get the box gem. You have to go back here, and I'm already starting with a mask because, yeah, this level is evil. You have to go back through the danger path, past all the crushers, and the nitros, and the ice physics, because yes, any platform game fan will tell you, ice physics count as an enemy. Make sure you get all of these, it can be a bit tricky behind the scenery. Get these. Short hop here. Okay, yeah, that's how you're supposed to do it. You stop right before the bouncy one and don't carry over your momentum right into this crusher. I like to trigger this icicle a little ahead of time there. Wait for the seal. Go under that. Don't go too fast here because the nitro segment is incoming. Slow myself down a bit here. If you hit these nitros, it's not the end of the world. Because it actually makes things easier. You'll see why, although you can probably already tell. This crusher here, which is pretty annoying. Slow yourself down there, hit that. And now, guess what? We have to do the entire danger path again, backwards. Dodge past the crushers, dodge past the nitros, dodge past everything. Yeah, you're pretty much always going to get hit by that one unless you're really, really careful. Dodge past these. There's one more nitro. Here we have a bit of a breather because all the icicles have already been cleared out. And yeah, these are why the outline boxes were there before, otherwise you wouldn't be able to get back here. Now this, you don't want to slide too far, otherwise you might go all the way into a pit here. Slide back there, just to kind of reset your position. Here we also have a bit of a breather. We need to go back into here and grab that. That's usually a life, but I've died too much in this level for that to still be a life. And remember back at the very beginning of this area? There's that one nitro that's waiting to catch you? Yeah. Many, many players have accidentally hit that one on the way back, and that's annoying. So the danger path is right here. A viable strategy might be to save the checkpoint here until after you've done that, because now we have to go through a pretty sizable stretch of the main level without any checkpoints, so if we die, we have to do all of that again. This part of the level is not too bad, but it's just like that time in Digging It. The hard part of the level is over, but it's very easy to get complacent and fail on the less hard path. That TNT will take out the penguin if you let it go down. More crushes here, another one here. This is really annoying, a hedgehog under a low ceiling. I like to wait for this one to put its spikes up. These hedgehogs will get particularly evil in their placement later on in the level, but for now, we can relax relatively. Now, if I wasn't going for deathless runs here, that checkpoint would be my salvation, because now your box count is saved. You don't have to do the danger path again if you die. Of course, if you're me, I'm putting myself through the pain of having to do deathless runs at these levels, so, yeah. Make sure you get all of these to activate this stretch of 4 boxes here. Nitro and a penguin right next to it, which is an annoying combination. And now we have another nitro with a penguin right next to it. This penguin thankfully doesn't move. And that little grotto of ice right there is your hint at something coming up. This. I'm pretty sure you have to go right in here and get that box yourself. I don't think the Nitro Exploder takes care of that for you. This actually isn't as hard as it looks. Here, I'm not going to care about that extra life because it's not worth it at all. And this is the end of this segment, and you might recognize this area. This is where we came out of the danger path earlier. So now we have much more boxes, but this area in its own right is still fairly tricky to get through. At least getting through it deathless. Hedgehogs in 3D segments make me very, very, very nervous. It's often a little hard to judge how far to the side they're going to go. This penguin loves to crash into those TNTs, so I'm going to have to quickly back out. There's sometimes a little bit of randomness in how many times the hedgehogs will walk before they retract their spines. And this hedgehog, I do not like this one at all. There's one later on that's even worse, but this one's quite bad in its own right. Good, got past it. And the Rolling Stones are back. These ones, I don't know if my mind's deceiving me, but they seem to be slightly faster than the ones from Snowbiz. I could be wrong, though. Oh, I really don't like this. A jump on a falling down platform combined with a Rolling Stone. There we go. And another Rolling Stone, which is kind of making not quite that visible. A hedgehog in the middle of a small platform that is in a 3D segment. I really don't like this hedgehog at all. That hedgehog has killed me at least once. So I actually kind of like just dodging around it. Okay, that's good. That penguin there is also kind of bad. And the rolling stone is also bad because you often careen right into it after hitting the penguin. Okay, good, I dodged past that. I think from now, we're relatively home free. There's nothing up here, don't worry. Yes, we are home free, that's 155. Actually, I don't want to speak too soon. There's double rolling stones and a couple of those in a pit. We're done. 155 boxes, box gem get. I didn't even need the mask that I spawned in with, which is great. I was hoping that I'd do that so that I could prove that I can get through this level without the Mercy mask. Oh, man, I'm glad to have that level done. You'll be seeing a lot of outtakes on this one. That level, right there, that is probably the hardest box gem in the game. There is another one that's maybe, like, 1% less hard. That's Warp Room 5 level 1. That's the next nightmare level that I have to worry about. But for now, these two levels are, oddly enough, actually kind of a breather after all that. So I'm going to obviously go and save now. I forgot what the level icon for Cold Hard Crash was, but it's usually the one that was my, how fitting, about to get hit by a hedgehog. It's usually the one that was my icon for 100% save files. I really hope the footage for that saved properly, but oh man, that level is just seriously, I was seriously worried for my blood pressure there. Anyway, like I said, Ruination is actually a breather compared to that, so see you for this one. So it's all uphill from here. So this is the sequel level to Road to Ruin, and it'll make its differences immediately apparent. See this formation of boxes here? You might recognize it from Road to Ruin. 4 boxes like this and 1 behind, except this time, the one behind is a nitro. So yeah, this is the main gimmick of this level. It uses box formations that are very similar to Road to Ruin, but in such a way that if you do exactly what you did back there, you will die. I find it kind of fun in that regard though. Slide there for good measure, and this weird monkey thing, I like to catch it in mid-jump there. I also like to wait for these boxes to blow up just to be sure. Dodge around the nitros, and there's another area of trolling soon, but for now, jump up there to get a loose mask. So, a set of outline boxes and an exclamation mark one. You might remember this from Road to Ruin, except this time they're nitros. The thing is, you actually don't need to get that exclamation mark box. They blow up anyway with the nitro exploder, regardless of whether or not they're visible, but I like to do that anyway. So, get this checkpoint, and we have the green gem, which requires the green gem from the eel deal to get to. Thankfully, there are no boxes on this path, it's purely for an extra gem. We also have logs again. But here's something cool about logs, you can spin them. That was what I was trying to show in Road to Ruin, but I never got the chance. Not a lot of people know about that. Anyway, we have more flamethrower heads, these can be a little annoying. And here's a segment to show off something interesting. So, that platform that falls down, if we wait for a little while, it will actually reform itself, and I like the animation for it too. This is probably to prevent the level from being unwinnable if you drop the platforms at the wrong time. All of the falling down platforms reform like this. And here's where spinning logs is very good. If you look closely, you might have been able to see the bonus back there. I really do like that. Being able to see the bonus from certain parts of the main level. So anyway, we have another segment of these platforms. There's one later in the main level that's even worse than this, ironically enough, but these ones aren't too bad. So there's actually not that much left in this area. Just a few more jumps there, another loose mask, and one more log segment. You have a bit of an audio cue as to when the logs are coming, so that's a good idea of when to spin. And got you there, so now we just need to grab this gem. Thankfully, it's positioned right at the end of the area, so you can't just skip the whole thing by getting it early and then death warping. Speaking of death warping though, this has put us far later in the level than we should be, and backtracking here is not that great, so I'm gonna have to do this. Thankfully, there's a checkpoint right at the start of the green gem area, and I'm already spawning in with a mask. I really don't like these segments. It's very easy for that fire to catch you right when you think you're safe. But we've got the bonus approaching. Thankfully, we have 12 boxes, which is good. This bonus can be a little tricky in some regards. It's also helped by the PAL version's bigger belly flop radius. So we break this, do a high jump there, and belly flop here. In the NTSC version, it's possible that might not break all of them, but here it definitely will. This is pretty much the belly flop bonus, so have fun with it. It's also going to show these TNTs will not break the belly flop boxes. So, this area is a little annoying. We've got a bridge here. Now, yeah, sometimes I actually like to break those with a spin. This makes this a lot easier. You can take your time on these. Okay, there we go. 49 boxes. That's pretty much quintupled our box count from before. It's funny, there are like almost 5 times as many boxes in the bonus as there are in the main part of the level. This monkey I like to intentionally wait for, because it can get quite annoying otherwise. Grab these and it's easy to get the monkey from here. What's not so easy is this sequence of flamethrower heads. You've got to be pretty quick to not get sniped by the fire at the end there. Thankfully though there is a mask here, so this one is a lot easier. Checkpoint, and now we have this rat here, in the middle of 2 nitros, and if we time this TNT just right, we might be able to catch this lizard in the blast radius. Yep, got him. That's always fun. TNTs have a bit of an outward expanding hitbox, so sometimes enemies will just walk right into the radius as it's expanding. This part is a bit annoying. We've got a segment of these tricky platforms that go at very, very weird angles. But yes, this is why I didn't want to backtrack through here before, but this is where the green gem put us out. So we can now go forward and get the crystal. So, these rats here, you're supposed to spin them into the Nitro Exploder, and hey, it actually worked that time. Usually it doesn't. Usually I have to jump and get that on my own. Oh, hey, we're about to be invincible during a log segment. This is, interestingly enough, the one log segment that is not in the secret area. So, this is the one that you're actually required to do. But, yeah, being invincible makes that fairly easy. And thank you, the gem this time. Yeah, you'll see in the outtakes something happened, let's just say, in one of my attempts at this level, and I don't want it to ever happen again. So, that's Ruination. It gave me a lot more trouble than I was expecting, probably because I jinxed it by saying it would be a breather, but really it's not all that bad. At least compared to Cold Hard Crash. So, we only have one more level left in this warp room, Behaving. This level is kind of interesting. When I and most people I knew played this game when we were younger, this was often the first level that we did in this warp room. And coming back to it now, it makes sense why. In a lot of ways, I actually find this level easier than Digging It. This is the sequel level to Digging It, and it's actually the last time we'll be seeing this level theme. They're only in Warp Room 4. This time they introduce us to digging ground very early. Back when I first played, this was my first exposure to the digging ground because I did this before Digging It. Actually for good reason, because, like I said, in a lot of ways, this is actually a bit easier. We're also introduced to the bees a lot earlier. The bees work a little differently here, as you're about to see, with the digging ground here. The bees come in much bigger groups now. Do not try and spin them this time. It's an exercise in futility. Just run. The weird thing is, though, they put a lot more diggable ground inside the bee segments in this level, so really, in some ways, it's actually a bit easier. You don't even need to try to outrun the bees, except I kind of like to get the bees to crash into those nitros there. I'm just going to spawn some more bees to see if I can do it. Not quite. Okay, getting through these nitros can be tricky. Because nitros are one of the only two things that can hurt you while you're underground. It's them and the hammer guys. Now, remember how I said in Digging It that these faces got a lot faster later on? Well, yeah, they're much faster here. Still not too bad to deal with, though. And here we have another electric fence segment combined with bees, but this time it's more bees. It's really not too bad, though. They just give you so much diggable ground here that you don't even need to try to outrun the bees most of the time. So, yet more bees and yet more diggable ground. But we're approaching the interesting part of this level. See those nitros over there? That's strange. They're not hopping or making noise. Those are not real nitros. They're implied to be metal boxes just painted to look like nitros. And that means... Yep, it's time for a secret area. Unfortunately, it's one of the more weirdly designed ones. So you'll see here we have a couple of jumps, we have another rat segment here. And then, already we're at our prize, the purple gem. 99% of players will just death warp here, and you keep the gem. And thus never see the real meat of this secret area. It's a shame, because it's actually quite a good one. So I wish they put the gem later on in this path. This path is very similar to the Unbearable secret area, in that there's a lot of bullets to dodge. But I find this to be a really fun area, and it's such a shame that you just don't get to see it. There's no real reason to continue here after getting the gem, because there's no boxes of other than nitros. But, self-imposed challenge time, I'm going to show this area anyway. And as you can see here, they're going to be doubling up on the bullets. Short hop through the nitros here. I really do like this area. It's just a shame that most people end up skipping it. So here, you can either go up or down. I kind of like going up here, but you do need to make sure of one thing. Just gotta be careful on the timing here. Make sure that you spin that hunter as you fall. Don't jump on him, or the bounce is likely to take you into the other bullets. We're almost home free here. Just a quick taking out of the turtle here. Duck, and we're out. That secret area is actually not that hard once you memorize it, but it's just a shame that most people have to skip it. We're actually a bit further back in the level, but it's nothing that we can't handle. A little bit further forward into the level, however, there's one fairly tricky part coming up, you'll see. And it's not this face. This face is really not that bad. It's this area. We've got plants back again, no diggable ground, and we also have bees again. Oh, I hate this part. Yeah, if we didn't have a mask, I'd be done for there. No diggable ground near these plants, so we have to deal with them, and we can't even take them out because of the bees. Pretty annoying, that, but that's actually the worst part of this level, in my opinion. Well, actually, there's more here. Oh man, I don't like those plants. The bonus here is kind of interesting. This here is telling you that you can basically move in 3D in these segments. This is pretty much the nitro bonus, maybe as a hint towards the secret area. So just a few sets of boxes here. Here's where they get kind of interesting. Gotta be a little bit careful here. But that's all. With that done, the rest of this level is really not all that bad. We've got more bees and more slide panels here, but more diggable ground. And another one of these hammer guys. Get the crystal, which will be our 20th. Yeah, there's another hammer guy here, I thought so. And a platform like this can only mean one thing. More plants. Yep, I mistimed that. We're actually almost out, though. This is the very end of the level. Got got to be a bit careful here because exiting out of the ground will spawn the bees. And usually a bee hits the nitro exploder right there. And yeah, there are a lot of nitros in that level. I think they made out more than half of the box count there, which is pretty interesting. But that's Bee Haven done. I should mention that in the beta version, this level was called Bee Haven, making it kind of a double pun. But with that, we've cleared out Warp Room 4, and Cortex promised to talk to us after we did, so let's get ready for that. We do have all 5 coloured gems now, which is pretty cool. So, dance for that.
Crash, I have discovered that the opposition is being masterminded by Dr. Nictrus Brio, the inventor of the Evolvo Ray. Brio was responsible for our misunderstandings in the past. He forced me to assist him in his plot for world domination, and he's at it again. He will attempt to stand in our way. Be on your guard, Crash. Use the platform to deliver the crystals to Engine.
So, we already have an idea of who this platform will take us to, and yes, if you somehow have got this far without getting any gems, that's the first mention of Dr. Brio. Of course, Cortex failed to mention that Brio is only the co-creator of the Evolvo Ray. Cortex also created it, which, by the way, is what created Crash, if you've played Crash 1. Yes, Crash was actually one of Cortex's own creations that went rogue. Anyway, though, it's time for our next boss, and this is probably my favourite boss in the game. This one is really fun, and it's against probably one of my favourite characters in the series as well. So, let's make our way up there.
Like Dr. Cortex said, give them 20 crystals you're collected to me.
You know, let's not do that. So, this is Engine, one of my favourite characters. He's just so fun, really. Just his voice and the fact that he specializes in giant mechs, he's pretty awesome. So, if you press circle or square in this area, we can throw Wumpa Fruit. And that's how we're going to deal with Engine here. He'll open various parts of his mech, and we have to throw fruit into them. It can be a good idea to... yeah, they go up and down a bit. It can be a good idea to balance your fruit between both parts, because I think if you take out one arm and not the other one regenerates all of its health. So here is technically phase 2. You can kind of skip this phase if you take out both arms very quickly. This phase is not that bad. I also like the music in this fight quite a lot, just like to point that out. And yeah, when a part starts getting electric, it means it's gonna break soon. So now we're on to the next phase. This is the rocket phase. He flies around a bit faster here, and he'll start firing rockets. You have to watch the shadows to see where they fall, but you're usually safe on the edges of the platforms. Can be a little hard to land hits in this phase, though. In the beta version, there was actually one rocket that went almost right to your head on the edge of the platforms, and then just stopped. Which was a bit cruel, but, guess it made this phase a bit more exciting, because it's actually fairly boring at this rate. Okay, that's going to be one taken out. Rocket Phase 2 is kind of, a bit slightly more interesting, except this one you can get a lot of hits on it quite easily, because he will slow down here and fire a single rocket that just goes straight along the platform. Now it's time for the final phase. Engine will pop up eventually and completely destroy one of our platforms. This phase is actually probably one of the easier ones. The platforms will regenerate eventually. Can be a little hard to get hits in, though. Where are you going to pop up? He's not really cooperating that much here. Usually I finish this a lot quicker. There we go.
Master Cortex will be very displeased with your resistance. Prepare to suffer his wrath.
I still love that fight. That is probably my favorite boss in this game. And his fight in Crash 3 was even better.
What is your problem, Bandicoot? I will not ask you again to bring me the crystals. Obtain the remaining 5 crystals, Crash, and bring them to me.
Yeah, he's not happy with what we've done, but at this point I think Crash is starting to catch on that trusting Cortex is probably not a good idea. Here we are in Warp Room 5, the final Warp Room. We have this level! So yeah, remember how I said that Cold Hard Crash is one of the 2 hardest box gems in the game? This is the other one. There's also Rocket, Night Fight, Pack Attack, and Spaced Out. So as you can tell, the theme here is space levels. So we've got a lot of new level themes here, including this one, which is going to introduce a whole new mechanic, so look forward to that. First, though, we have to beat Piston in a way. Yeah, this is another level that might take a while. Definitely, it's arguable whether or not this is harder than Cold Hard Crash or not. I put this as slightly lower than Cold Hard Crash personally, but only very, very slightly. And I mean very slightly. Oh, by the way, if we check here, we can see that we have all the colored gems now, and 77%. We're almost there. So let's save now that we've got to here, and I really like the being able to see out into space here. And there's Engine's file icon. So I'll see you next time for... well, some more fun levels, basically, but, well, pain first. Yeah, this one. This is probably the last nightmare level in the playthrough, though, so once this is done, it's all uphill from here. Ice Physics plus Nitros do not mix. Ice Physics plus Nitros plus having to frantically stop yourself at the very end really do not mix? Okay, yeah, I was gonna get hit by those. Oh, yeah, that was inevitable. Here, it's probably a good idea to... the hitbox... I knew that was gonna get me. Nitros have a bit of a persistent hitbox, and sometimes your invincibility will wear off while you're still inside of it, and it will still be there and you'll just die. Okay, this is fine. This is not fine. Dang it. Oh boy, I don't like that hedgehog at all. Ah! Ah! I mean, just practice dodging it. It's really not that bad. Oh, and I ran into the stone. Here is particularly tricky. Wow, that was really bad. You can't get the box gem that way. And there's the shoes animation. That's kind of random. Some people think it's affected by the angle that you go into the pit at. But anyway. Oh, that was terrible. Okay, that was really bad because I like having a mask here. I have to thread the needle between these nitros now. Having a mask here is great because you can... yeah, that was coming. Oh, this level makes me so nervous. No! Ah! It's this hedgehog that I hate so much. This hedgehog in particular is... it has killed one of my runs of this level, at least. Well, at least once is redundant, but it has killed one of my runs of this level. I do not like this hedgehog at all. Okay, get that. Oh my god, really? Oh my god, I was so close. Really? Really? So now we have a log-throwing gorilla heading towards the camera. Yeah, that was too early. Depth deception can be tricky sometimes. And, that was too late. Uh-oh, that's not good. Oh, yeah, don't spin too close to the TNTs. That was stupid. If you drop the platforms too early, and that was jumping too early. And flamethrower heads along with this. Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about before. And here we have another one of these box bridges. It's actually a little bit tricky because of this area. Oh! Just missed it. So this is the sequel level to Road to Ruin, and it'll make its difference as a... Another one of these lizard things, and then another one of these weird monkey things. I like to catch this one in the middle of a bounce there, which I didn't quite, but that's fine. So, the second part of this level's trolling comes here. There's also a bonus here, and it's actually a somewhat tricky one in a few regards, but it's also pretty fun. We only have 11 boxes so far. The bonus is going to almost quintuple our box count. So, that's Ruination. No. No! No! Had to happen at least once, didn't it? Had to happen at least once. At least it wasn't Cold Hard Crash. So we break this with a spin, high jump up here, and belly flop all of these. This is where the increased... Really? We have a bridge here. I don't even know what I did there. But if you jump on one and then jump back, you're not totally screwed. Ah, what is totally screwed is if you do that. I am not playing well today. Anyway though, we're approaching the bonus. This bonus can be a little tricky sometimes, it's also quite fun. Thankfully we have 12 boxes going in here, that's the magic number. I once had 11 and that ended very badly. What just happened? Huh. That was weird. I'm sure I got on the platform there. Huh, that must be a glitch that I never knew about. So this is the sequel level to Road to Ruin, and it'll make its difference as a... Not again. The bees are harder, but you don't even need to outrun most of them, because you've got ground to dig in. Oh, and yeah, that's what happens if you do that too late, and that's what the death animation looks like underground. Those nitros are still there. Funny thing is, in the beta version, they were actually real nitros. They just didn't activate if you jumped on them, but if you spun, they would still blow up. That was a bit weird. That was probably not intentional. Anyway, though, we've got more...